Georgia, Mr. Scott, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just briefly, while Texas and Georgia were both hit with hurricanes, the difference in what happened in Texas is the crop was already harvested. It was just still sitting in the field because you didn't have time to get out of the field before the storm came in. Sir, both, but a lot of your crop was harvested. Where in Georgia, our crop was still on the stalk, and that's where the difference in when crop insurance pays and doesn't pay makes such a big difference. The storm hit us mid-October, and I was at the Sunbelt Ag Expo, as I know Bart Davis was. Others in this room may have been there. I know some of the other people in this room were there. And the Vice President, who I know and I like, flew in there and gave a speech, and I'd like to read part of his speech. And then he says, "Let me say to all the farmers gathered here today in the wake of Hurricane Michael, we are with you, and we will stay with you until we rebuild and recover better than ever before." As big an applause as I've seen in a long time when he said that. And he talked about Decatur County, which is in Congressman Bishop's district, not in my district. Georgia farmers and producers lost up to 70% of their fall vegetables, 90% of their sweet corn, 95% of the unharvested cotton crop, 95% of poultry, 100% of the pecan crop, and in fact, many of them lost the whole pecan orchard. Those of us in the House worked pretty hard in putting a disaster package together, and we were able to move up to $3 billion, the number available for crop losses. The losses in Georgia alone are better than $2 billion, and we're talking about $3 billion for the whole country for all of the 2018 storms, not just Hurricane Michael. So the $3 billion number is still short. But I want to read the Statement of Administrative Policy that the Office of Management and Budget put out. Crop and livestock losses. The administration does not support the $1.1 billion. Again, we, through work in the House, got it moved to a more reasonable number, provided for crop and livestock losses. Existing USDA safety net programs, including crop insurance, can provide this assistance to producers. I appreciate the Vice President's comments. I appreciate the President's favorable comments about agriculture and the agricultural community. But when things are then handed off to people at Office of Management and Budget who consider the American farmer and the American farm family nothing but subsidy-sucking freeloaders, then there's a disconnect in what is actually coming out of the administration and what the administration is telling us they're going to do. Mr. Davis, can you explain to us why existing crop insurance programs just won't do it in the case of an event like Hurricane Michael?
Yeah, just like I said a while ago, 80 to 85% is the most you can come overall. Sorry. Like I said a while ago, 80 to 85% is the most you can insure your crops for. So when I started farming in 1982, Austin, you could take $100,000 and work a lot of land. I borrowed hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now we borrow millions of dollars. Our operation has to feed 3 families. I don't really like having to farm 5,000 acres. That's what it takes. The profit margin is so thin, that's the acres it takes for us to make a living for 3 families. And with insurance like it is, we still have, it's costing so much. The cost of production has went up so dramatically the last several years. It's costing me on my farm between $900 and $1,000 an acre to grow an irrigated acre of peanuts or irrigated acre of cotton. So you see the risk there. And when you see there that 80 to 85% is the most I can insure for, you do the math. You see what's left. That's what happened to me last year. We had the maximum insurance. And I'm not going to say the figure here, but it was several $100,000 we still lost with our farming operation last year.
I appreciate all of you being here. I will tell you one of the things that, and this is true in Colquitt County. If you go into the northwest portion of Colquitt County, the loss is totally different than the losses in the southeastern portion of the county, the way that storm came through. And as this committee looks into crop insurance and how we handle the losses, it's very clear to me we're going to have to figure out what happens in the event of these catastrophic losses where you have a 100% loss, and how that's calculated into base figures and other things going forward. So Mr. Chairman, I know my time's expired, but I appreciate the members of this committee helping to pass disaster relief. My colleague David Scott's been a big help in that as well. And I sure hope we get something done before Memorial Day.